Thank you, Chairman Chaffetz. And I want to shift to a little bit of dollars and cents questions here. And Mr. Roth, I know that in your statement you draw attention to the wastefulness in acquisition programs. It's something we hear in Congress all the time, how government spends a whole lot more money than it should acquiring things, and takes longer to deploy them and delivers less capability than promised. And obviously you can look within the Department of Homeland Security, the TSA and their puffer machines and warehouses full of equipment that either doesn't work, doesn't get deployed, or both. What all are y'all doing to reduce waste in acquisition?
Well, certainly one of the things that we're doing is an increased emphasis on acquisition reform and acquisition auditing. So that's one of the things that we really didn't have a capability of, say, 3 years ago. And thanks to Congress appropriating additional funds for more FTEs, we're able to actually focus on this issue more than we had before. So that's one aspect of what we're doing. The other aspect of what we're doing is to try to ensure legislation that will put guidelines in place for the Department of Homeland Security as to their major acquisitions, what they have to do, increased reporting both to the IG as well as to Congress to ensure that major acquisitions continue on track. But really our emphasis is on further auditing of these programs, including what we call life cycle auditing, which is we don't wait until all the money is spent and then we say, well, you just wasted $1 billion on an acquisition. Rather, we go in sort of while the requirements, for example, are being developed, and then later on during the course of the acquisition to ensure that it's on track.
I mean, you talk about billions of dollars. There's been 11 years and $1.5 billion spent on an IT system for the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, and you're still using a paper system there. And actually, Homeland Security is one of the more tech-savvy agencies in the government. But I mean, we see the same thing with a system, IT system in the VA. What's the big stumbling block in the government to being able to use computers that every corporation and small business and middle school student are able to do?
Well, a couple things. One, the size and complexity of some of these projects are enormous. So when you're talking about the immigration system, these are literally millions and millions of files. The tempo, the operational tempo of CIS is just enormous. And I'm certainly not apologizing for them or excusing what it is that they do because they have a paper-based system.
But I mean, you got the airlines that do billions of transactions. You've got credit card companies that are able to do these transactions. You've got ExxonMobil, a global corporation that has a reasonable IT system, but the government can't do it.
Right. Well, a couple things. One is that there was never a structure in place to do the acquisitions correctly. That was the first issue. Two, the expertise, that is getting the personnel who actually understand these and have the ability to do the acquisition, I think has been a challenge. And thirdly, the acquisition process itself in the government is incredibly burdensome compared to, I think, private.
And I think we need to spend some time, Mr. Chairman, and we'll continue looking into how we reform that. And I want to give the other IGs here, I don't think any of you guys' agencies, with exception maybe Justice, has anywhere near the acquisition budget Homeland Security does. But are you seeing similar problems within acquisition of your department? I mean, we'll just go down the line. We'll start with you, Mr. Horowitz.
We are doing more and more contract audits, and we have nowhere near the contracting that DHS does. But we are seeing challenges at DOJ. We saw it at the FBI when we looked at their effort to move to a computer-based system for handling all their paperwork.
Peace Corps, Ms. Bueller?
Peace Corps doesn't have a large acquisition program, but the contracting function has always been a problem. It's been a management challenge for the past couple of years. The challenge at Peace Corps is more in line with the staff leaving every 2 to 5 years. We have a 30% turnover rate in the Peace Corps per year.
And Mr. Dahl?
Similar to Mr. Horowitz, we're finding problems with the contracting and the processes they're using for contracting and the approaches they're using. And we issued an audit that we provided to this committee last year on using a time and materials contract long beyond its time of necessity.
All right, so finally, I see I'm just about out of time, Mr. Horowitz. I would challenge you to work within your organization. What is most helpful to us in Congress are some concrete recommendations of what to fix. And I would like to put that on your whiteboard of things to do.
Absolutely. We will get you some.
Thank you.